Hello, all, and welcome to this afternoon's beer review. Just another lazy afternoon's beer review, which I'm going to dub the plantar fasciitis beer review. So I got special prescription sole inserts now because my feet hurt, and that's that. So, what are we reviewing this afternoon? Well, I've already had one bottle of this yesterday, and I have to say it was pretty interesting, and we'll be seeing why soon enough. This is Lagunitas Stereohopic IPA, Volume 4, as you can see here. Apparently, they've released three previous iterations of this, and it's basically some, exploring the world of hops. In other words, Stereohopic, they use two different types of hops. And this one is using Lotus Hops, which I've never tried before, that I know of, and Sabro Hops, which I have tried before. So let's read the label, shall we? The Stereohopic series channels our nearly 30-year hop love affair into the spotlight on two special varietals at a time, and the interestingness that occurs between. This fourth volume shows what happens when the orange vanilla vibrancy of Lotus meets the creamy tropical complexity of Sabro. Tell us what you think. Now, this is 7.2 ABV and 65 IBUs. It's a bit on the heavy side, as I can tell you, because I had a headache when I woke up this morning, and I only had one of these. So after I did the cider review, I had one of these, and then can of sour, which was 3 beers altogether. But apparently I'm getting old in so many ways. So without much further ado, and actually I forgot to turn on the light, so that's what I'm going to do right now. So you can better see the coloration. Let's pour this out, shall we? Okay. So nice golden orange, clear, with a thick, fluffy off-white head. That is really odd smelling. You can smell that it's an IPA. Has that hints of dank and ozone that I kind of associate with all modern IPAs. But like it says, there's also a creamsicle quality to the nose. So a kind of creamy orangeness. And also a sharper tropical fruit note as well. Now, it's not unusual to have citrus notes in an IPA, but not so common to have it, rounded and creamy. And there I go again with, I don't know, I guess it's a kind of synesthesia in which I see flavors as either being, pointy, dull, round. I kind of see flavors as shapes. So, like, orange juice is just mildly angular, or as, like tart grapefruit juice or tart orange would be really sharp, whereas a creamsicle is round. Interestingly, also getting some odd malt notes too. Almost like a graham cracker like note there to the malts. So, in all, you can tell, pretty interesting nose. Let's get this onto the palate now, shall we? Fairly chewy mouthfeel. And the bitterness is somewhat muted. Yeah, bitterness is pretty much only there in the mids to finish. Almost like a pine note. The creamsicle note is much more in the nose than on the palate. It's briefly there in the front to mids. And actually, the hop bitterness actually kind of increases in the long finish a little bit there. Very piney. The mouthfeel in the front is a little creamy, but then it transitions into that sort of more regular hop bitterness and slightly tannic mouthfeel that hopping leaves. It's not overly so. It's just sort of like a noted transition in mouthfeel there. Somewhat sweet up front. Not as sweet as many hazies, but definitely sweeter than the more standard West Coast styles. Malts are biscuity, but very much a hop show there. Not too much appearing in the top note, in the effervescent top note. Again, very chewy mouthfeel. And very muted feel of carbonation on the palate as well. The orange is there, but there's also that, there's sort of that disjunct as well, so there's that creamy mouthfeel. Almost coconut creaminess, not really like a dairy kind of creaminess. Coconut kind of creaminess. You know, I suppose it's like a sort of a lactose kind of creaminess. But while the orange and that sort of creaminess, meld in the nose, on the palate they're rather separate. The creaminess is more a sense note on the palate rather than a taste note. Adds to the body, the thickness, and I don't want to say oiliness because it doesn't really have an oiliness, but it definitely is thick. Um, the orange note is a bit more like the sort of citrus orange zest notes that you kind of get that you're more used to in an IPA. So while they really meld together in the nose, they're kind of separate taste notes. Well, I shouldn't say taste notes, but a separate flavor note and sort of tactile note in the mouth. I'm not sure if I'm making myself clear here. And again, transitions into a sort of piney hop finish. Pretty strong on the piney flavors. Not so much, not so much intense in just like the bitterness, though. That, or I'm getting, acclimated to hop bitterness again. So, what can I say about this particular beer? It's fairly interesting. I can give it that. It's a fairly interesting beer in those notes. But the thing is, it's interesting, but it's not really something that draws me in so much. It's not like an experience I'm like, yeah, this is something I really want to go and experience over and over again. Just because I don't know, it's a bit out there. There's nothing that really clashes or is um, against my senses, but it just it I just don't have a chemistry with it, I suppose I could say. I'm not feeling a chemistry with this beer, personal chemistry with this beer. I'll fully admit it's got some really unique taste notes there, and it's really nice how it's been designed, and it kind of comes together in different ways. But it's not really something that's like, yes, I want to seek this out again and again. Not that I could. Again, limited edition. Next year is going to be completely different. And honestly, I kind of wish I tried the previous iterations, and I definitely will be trying future ones, just because this is really interesting to me. But it's not something I'm going to go and pick up another sixer of, even though it's affordable. So an interesting beer, worth trying. Probably not something that you're going to be like, well, I really need to have this. Stock it up while it's available before I never see it again. You know what I mean? And so give it a shot. Pretty interesting, I have to say. Your mileage may vary, as in all things. And folks, I see. I always try to say Lagunitas Stereohopic IPA Volume 4. And folks, that is your beer review for this afternoon. Cheers.